Films have always been used to interrogate how beauty is a politic that affects women's lives, and personally, I think beauty is one of the most fascinating and political film subjects. Plus, movies as a medium are especially poised to explore this thorny and uncomfortable truth about beauty and women. So, based on this idea, I put together a letterbox list of movies that discuss capital B beauty, called And Beauty Was Her Name. This isn't a completely comprehensive list of every movie that's ever discussed beauty, but it is a list of movies that I like and find fascinating, like The Heiress from 1949, starring Olivia de Havilland as Catherine Sloper. Catherine is a rich girl with no beauty, no grace, or no charm. At least that's what her father says. So when a handsome young man named Morris comes knocking at the door, he of course assumes he wants your inheritance, honey. But even though it's a harsh reality for Catherine to accept that she's gonna have to buy her companionship, when she does accept it, her father still won't let her do it. And the more you watch the movie, you have to consider if Catherine had a more loving, affectionate, and supportive father, she'd probably be a more confident, charming, and thus beautiful young woman. In George Stevens's A Place in the Sun from 1951, we again see Montgomery Clift as a social climber, but I'm more interested in Alice, played by Shelley Winters, a reoccurring figure on this list. See, a girl like Alice is the kind you have fun with and then throw away. But like so many other plain girls, she makes herself permanent in Tripp's life when she gets pregnant. But Tripp, played by Monty, knows just how to handle an ugly girl with too much ambition. Because let's be honest, why would a guy like Tripp marry Alice when he could be with somebody like Angela, played by Elizabeth Taylor? But in another movie from that same year, The Model and the Marriage Broker, they play around with similar ideas about beauty in a much more comedic way. The movie does make a point, though, to state that some people can't rely on their good looks to land a husband. They need a little extra help with marriage, and that in the 1950s, being single could mean never having a home or much money of your own. And we see this thought echoed in another film from the 50s, The Rainmaker from 1956. Katharine Hepburn's character, Lizzie, knows that women like her, women with no great beauty or charm, are somewhat destined to be maiden aunts, the eccentric yet burdened relation that must bounce between homes because she doesn't have one of her own. In more modern films like Naked Acts from 1996 and The Virgin Suicides from 1999, we see how the narratives of who we are and how we feel about our appearance and bodies are cemented so early in our lives. And that, in many ways, to be born a girl is to be basically born living art. You're constantly gawked at, critiqued, and dissected. You're also something to be bought, sold, and commodified. It's a vicious cycle that never really ends, and once you realize that, well, the realization can drive you crazy. And in one of the most recent additions to this canon, The Substance, we see just how political beauty can be and that it's something that affects way more than your ability to date. Elizabeth Sparkles is literally pushed out of her job because she's too old to be seen on TV anymore, and her alter ego, Sue, is instantly hired because she's young and hot. How much more political can beauty be if it affects your livelihood? My letterbox list, And Beauty Is Her Name, as well as my notes on each of these movies, is currently live on my letterbox, and I'd love to know from other people. What are some of your favorite movies that explore beauty?